I have to take care of this truck because this truck takes care of me. And it's a partnership, and that's why I take care of it.
For over a decade, she ruled the frozen highways of Alaska, breaking barriers as the lone woman among the world's most dangerous drivers. Lisa Kelly became the undisputed queen of ice road truckers, hauling massive loads across treacherous terrain that claimed lives and shattered careers. But then, without warning, she vanished. What really drove Lisa Kelly away from the cameras and the fame that made her a household name? Was it the relentless pressure of reality television, or something far more personal that finally pushed her over the edge? And after years of speculation and rumors, why is she finally ready to tell her side of the story? Stay tuned, because we're about to uncover the real reason Lisa Kelly walked away from one of television's biggest reality hits and what she's been doing in the years since her dramatic exit. Ice Road Truckers wasn't just another reality show cluttering the cable landscape. It was a genuine cultural phenomenon that introduced millions of viewers to one of the world's most dangerous and misunderstood professions. At its peak, the series drew over 4 million viewers per episode, making household names out of drivers who risked their lives hauling vital supplies across frozen wastelands that most people couldn't survive for a single day. The show gave audiences an unprecedented look into a world where temperatures dropped to minus 60 degrees, where a single mistake could mean death, and where the difference between success and disaster often came down to split-second decisions made while piloting 80,000-pound rigs across ice that might not hold their weight. But among all the larger-than-life personalities who populated this frozen universe, the philosophical Alex Debegorsky, the volatile Hugh Rowland, the methodical Rick Yem, one figure stood above the rest: Lisa Kelly. The fearless woman who proved she could handle anything the ice roads threw at her, often better than men who'd been doing the job for decades. Before we dive into the mystery of her departure and the shocking revelations that followed, let's rewind to understand how a young woman from Michigan became not just television's most famous trucker, but a genuine icon who inspired countless women to enter traditionally male-dominated industries. Lisa Kelly entered this world on December 8, 1980, in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but Alaska would become her true home and the proving ground that forged her legendary toughness. Her family made the life-changing decision to relocate to Sterling, Alaska, when she was just 6 years old, trading the relative comfort of the Midwest for a landscape where the vast wilderness and bone-crushing winters would fundamentally shape the woman she'd become. Growing up in Alaska isn't for the faint of heart, and Lisa's childhood was a masterclass in resilience and self-reliance. While other kids in warmer climates worried about typical playground politics and adolescent drama, Lisa learned to navigate a landscape that could literally kill you if you weren't paying attention to every detail, every weather change, every mechanical sound that might signal trouble ahead. Her father worked in Alaska's booming oil industry during the pipeline construction era, giving young Lisa early exposure to the rugged, no-nonsense world of industrial transportation and heavy equipment operation. This wasn't just casual exposure. She grew up around men who made their living in some of the harshest conditions on Earth, absorbing lessons about machinery, weather, and survival that would prove invaluable in her future career. As a teenager, Lisa discovered she had a natural, almost intuitive affinity for machines that amazed even experienced mechanics. While her female classmates were focused on typical high school concerns like dating and college preparation, she was spending her free time learning to operate heavy equipment, developing the mechanical skills and spatial awareness that would later make her one of the most capable drivers on Alaska's treacherous highways. Her first real taste of the trucking world came during summer jobs at local transportation companies, where she quickly proved she could handle vehicles that intimidated men twice her size and with years more experience. Supervisors were initially skeptical. This was the early 2000s, and seeing a young woman confidently maneuvering massive trucks was still unusual enough to raise eyebrows and prompt double takes. But Lisa's competence behind the wheel was undeniable. She had an almost supernatural ability to feel what a truck was doing, to sense when the road conditions were changing, and to make the countless micro adjustments that separate competent drivers from truly exceptional ones. The transition from curious teenager to serious professional driver happened gradually, then all at once. After high school, Lisa threw herself completely into the world of commercial trucking, earning her commercial driver's license and quickly discovering that the frozen highways of Alaska's North Slope offered exactly the kind of challenge and financial compensation that regular trucking simply couldn't match. By her mid-20s, Lisa Kelly had found her true calling, hauling loads up the infamous Dalton Highway, that notorious 414-mile stretch of ice, gravel, and pure danger that connects Fairbanks to the oil fields of Prudhoe Bay. It was dangerous work that paid exceptionally well, but more importantly for Lisa, it was work that made her feel truly alive, fully engaged, and completely in her element. Little did she know that her extraordinary skills behind the wheel would soon catch the attention of television producers looking for authentic characters to anchor their next big reality hit. Ice Road Truckers premiered on the History Channel in June 2007, immediately capturing audiences with its unique combination of workplace documentary and survival drama. But Lisa Kelly didn't join the cast until season 3 in 2009, by which time the show had already established itself as appointment television, following veteran drivers like Hugh Rowland and Alex Debogorski as they navigated the deadliest highways in North America. When Lisa first appeared on screen during that pivotal third season, she immediately stood out. Not just because she was the only woman in an overwhelmingly male-dominated field, but because she approached the ice roads with a distinctive combination of fearlessness, technical precision, and calm professionalism that impressed even the most grizzled veterans who had initially been skeptical of her abilities. Her partnership with Carlisle Transportation Services proved to be a perfect professional match that would define her early television career. Carlisle specialized in the kind of heavy, high-stakes hauls to Alaska's most remote and dangerous locations that made for naturally compelling television. Lisa's boss, Lane Keeter, quickly recognized her exceptional talent and became both a crucial mentor and fierce advocate, helping her secure some of the most difficult and high-profile loads that would showcase her skills to millions of viewers. The show's producers were initially hesitant about featuring a female driver so prominently in their programming. Reality television in 2009 still struggled with how to present women in traditionally male roles without falling into tired stereotypes or manufactured drama. But Lisa's refreshingly authentic approach to the work, she never played up her gender for sympathy or dramatic effect, never complained about the conditions, and certainly never backed down from dangerous hauls, won over both the production team and audiences hungry for genuine competence. Her on-screen relationships with fellow drivers developed naturally and authentically, without the forced conflicts that plague so many reality shows. Veterans like Hugh Rowland, known for his explosive temper and skeptical attitude toward newcomers, initially viewed her with the wariness that most ice road veterans reserved for rookies. But that skepticism quickly transformed into genuine respect and admiration as she proved herself on increasingly dangerous and technically demanding runs. Alex Debogorski, the show's philosophical trucker poet whose thoughtful approach to the work made him a fan favorite, became something of a protective older brother figure in Lisa's television family, offering hard-won wisdom and practical advice during particularly challenging hauls, while serving as a buffer against the more volatile personalities in the cast. Lisa's meteoric rise to prominence on the show was unprecedented in reality television. By season 4, she was getting featured storylines and becoming the primary face of the series in promotional materials and advertising campaigns. Her social media following exploded from a few hundred followers to hundreds of thousands, and she began making high-profile appearances at trucking events, conventions, and industry gatherings across the country. Magazine covers, interview requests, and endorsement opportunities flooded in as Lisa became not just a reality TV star, but a genuine cultural icon representing female empowerment in blue-collar industries. Young women began entering trucking programs specifically because they had seen Lisa prove it was possible to succeed and thrive in this demanding field. But even as her star was rising and her fame was reaching unprecedented heights, those closest to the production began noticing subtle but concerning signs that the relentless pressures of television fame and constant scrutiny were beginning to take their toll on someone who had always valued privacy and authenticity above all else. The warning signs were there for anyone paying close attention, but few realized just how dramatically things were about to change. The cracks in Lisa Kelly's relationship with Ice Road truckers began appearing as early as season 5, though few viewers noticed the warning signs hidden beneath the surface of what appeared to be continued success and rising popularity. Behind the cameras, and away from the dramatic footage that captivated audiences, a complex and increasingly volatile web of creative tensions, personal pressures, and industry politics was slowly building toward a breaking point that would shock the trucking world and leave millions of fans searching for answers. The first major friction point centered around the fundamental conflict between authenticity and entertainment value that plagues all reality television. Lisa famously cited that having a camera crew follow her around constantly and dealing with members of the production team invading her privacy was something she desperately needed a break from. But the reality was far more complex and troubling than that simple explanation suggested. According to multiple industry insiders who spoke on condition of anonymity, there were growing and increasingly heated disagreements between Lisa and the show's producers about how her storylines were being crafted, edited, and presented to audiences. Some reports suggest that producers were pushing for her to emphasize manufactured conflicts, stage near misses, and participate in dramatic scenarios that didn't always align with the reality of her professional experience or personal values. This tension was particularly problematic for Lisa, who had built her reputation, both on television and within the trucking industry itself, on competence, reliability, and straightforward professionalism. The growing pressure to participate in what she reportedly saw as manufactured drama threatened to undermine everything she had worked to achieve. Hypothesis. A points to these creative differences as the primary catalyst for her eventual departure. Sources close to the production suggest that Lisa became increasingly uncomfortable with the show's gradual evolution from documentary-style coverage of a dangerous profession to the more heavily produced, drama-focused reality television that dominated cable programming during this period. The demand for escalating story arcs, manufactured personal conflicts, and increasingly dangerous scenarios allegedly clashed with Lisa's straightforward, no-nonsense approach to the job she genuinely loved. Several crew members reportedly witnessed heated discussions between Lisa and producers about storylines she felt crossed ethical lines or misrepresented the realities of professional trucking. This theory gains considerable credibility when you consider the broader changes happening to Ice Road truckers during this crucial period. The show was under intense pressure from network executives to maintain and increase ratings in an increasingly crowded and competitive reality television landscape, leading to more elaborate stunts, more dramatic personal conflicts, and increasingly dangerous scenarios being featured prominently in episodes. Hypothesis B suggests the tensions were more personal and financial in nature, rooted in the complex business relationships that govern reality television production. The reality TV industry is notorious for complicated contracts, revenue-sharing arrangements, and compensation structures that can leave even successful and popular performers feeling undervalued and undercompensated for their contributions to a show's success. Some industry observers speculated that Lisa's rapidly growing profile, marketability, and cultural influence weren't being adequately reflected in her compensation structure or creative control over her storylines. As she became more valuable to the show's success, her leverage in negotiations should have increased proportionally. But there were suggestions that the production company was resistant to renegotiating terms that had been set when she was an unknown quantity. Additionally, the physical and emotional toll of filming was reportedly becoming increasingly unsustainable for someone whose primary career was already high stress and physically demanding. Reality television production schedules are notoriously grueling, often requiring participants to be on for cameras 16 hours a day across multi-week shoots that stretched for months at a time. For someone whose day job already involved life-threatening conditions, extreme weather, and enormous physical and mental demands, the added pressure of television production, with its constant need for dramatic moments, personal revelations, and emotional availability, may have simply become too much to bear while maintaining her performance as a professional driver. The breaking point finally came during pre-production meetings for Season 6, when negotiations between Lisa's representatives and the show's producers reportedly reached an impasse over fundamental questions about creative control, compensation, and the direction of her character development. We offered her a contract to return, and she chose not to, producer Tom Beers later revealed in what became the official explanation for her absence. But that diplomatically simple statement masked what multiple industry insiders describe as increasingly contentious and ultimately failed negotiations that collapsed over what appeared to be irreconcilable differences about the future direction of both the show and Lisa's role within it. Whatever the specific catalyst or combination of factors, Lisa Kelly made a decision that stunned both her co-stars and the millions of fans who had come to see her as the heart and soul of Ice Road Truckers. She was walking away from one of reality television's biggest and most profitable hits at the absolute height of her fame and influence, sacrificing financial security and celebrity status for reasons that remained mysterious and hotly debated. For months after Lisa Kelly's shocking departure from Ice Road Truckers was officially announced, speculation ran completely wild across trucking forums, reality television blogs, and social media platforms as fans desperately sought answers to explain why their favorite driver had seemingly vanished without explanation. The show's producers offered only carefully crafted, diplomatically vague explanations that satisfied no one, while Lisa herself remained notably and frustratingly silent about the specific circumstances surrounding her controversial exit. The first genuine glimpse of her side of the story came not through mainstream entertainment media, but rather through specialized industry interviews and trucking publications that had maintained relationships with her throughout her television career. In these more intimate, less sensationalized conversations with trucking journalists who understood the professional realities of her work, Lisa began cautiously opening up about the real pressures and impossible choices she had faced during her final seasons on the show. According to multiple sources within the trucking industry, Lisa's initial reluctance to speak publicly about her departure wasn't driven by legal restrictions or contractual obligations, but rather by her natural preference for privacy and her desire to avoid burning bridges with people she had worked with for years. The most significant and revealing statement came during a comprehensive 2021 interview with Overdrive magazine, where Lisa finally addressed the persistent questions about her departure with the kind of candid honesty that had originally made her such a compelling television personality. For the first time since leaving the show, she spoke openly and thoughtfully about the impossible balance between maintaining her integrity as a professional driver and meeting the increasingly demanding entertainment requirements of reality television production. In this watershed moment, Lisa revealed that her decision to leave wasn't made in anger, frustration, or response to any single dramatic incident, but rather from a place of clear-eyed self-preservation and professional integrity. The constant presence of cameras and producers had begun affecting not just her work performance and stress levels, but her crucial relationships with dispatchers, clients, and fellow drivers who weren't part of the television production, but whose cooperation was essential for her continued success as a professional trucker. What surprised many longtime fans was Lisa's admission that leaving the show was actually significantly harder than staying would have been. The financial benefits of regular television work were substantial and life-changing, and the platform had opened doors to opportunities, endorsements, and career possibilities that she never could have imagined when she first started driving trucks in Alaska's oil fields. But ultimately, Lisa explained, preserving her fundamental love for trucking itself, the work that had defined her identity long before television cameras arrived, was more important than maintaining her television career, no matter how lucrative or prestigious that career had become. The interview also revealed what she deliberately chose not to discuss publicly, demonstrating the same professionalism that had made her successful in the first place. She avoided specific details about contract negotiations, behind-the-scenes conflicts with producers, or any personal animosity toward the show or her former co-stars, focusing instead on her own experience and decision-making process, rather than criticizing others involved in the production. Her eventual return to the show for Season 7 demonstrated that whatever tensions and disagreements had existed were ultimately resolved, at least temporarily and satisfactorily enough for all parties to move forward professionally. But her permanent departure after Season 11 suggested that the fundamental structural issues that had driven her initial exit were never fully addressed to her satisfaction. Lisa Kelly's initial departure from Ice Road Truckers sent immediate and lasting shockwaves through both the reality television industry and the professional trucking community, creating ripple effects that extended far beyond the show itself. Her absence during Season 6 was immediately and painfully noticeable to the millions of viewers who had come to consider her an essential part of the show's appeal, leading to measurably declining ratings and a sustained flood of online speculation about what had really happened behind the scenes. The professional trucking industry's reaction was particularly telling and supportive. Many career drivers who had initially viewed the show with skepticism or outright hostility began expressing vocal support for Lisa's decision to prioritize her actual trucking career over television fame and financial benefits. Industry publications praised her for maintaining her professional integrity and staying true to her roots, even when it meant walking away from significant money and national recognition. Within the broader reality television community, Lisa's departure was recognized as part of a significant trend of participants becoming more aware of their own value and increasingly willing to walk away from productions that didn't serve their long-term personal and professional interests. Her decision helped establish important precedents for other reality stars negotiating better terms, conditions, and creative control over their participation in future shows. More than a decade after first appearing on Ice Road Truckers and capturing the hearts of millions of viewers, Lisa Kelly continues to embody the same independent, authentic spirit that originally made her such a compelling television personality. Speaking candidly with Overdrive magazine in May 2021, Kelly revealed that she now works for a different logistics company, but still drives the same challenging route from the Alaskan city of Kenai to Prudhoe Bay, an incredibly demanding 1,500-mile journey that remains every bit as dangerous and technically challenging as it was during her television years. Her current life represents everything she fought so hard to preserve during her struggles with television production demands. Gone are the ever-present cameras, the constant pressure to create dramatic moments, and the producers looking for personal revelations, But Lisa Kelly is still doing exactly what she loves most, driving trucks and looking forward to hitting Alaska's legendary ice roads every winter season. Beyond trucking, she's also drag racing trucks, tending to her 7 horses, riding motocross, and fully enjoying her role as a working professional who happens to have an extraordinary and unique resume that includes both reality television stardom and genuine expertise in one of America's most dangerous professions. The woman who once commanded television audiences of millions now manages her own schedule, chooses her own loads, and maintains the privacy and personal autonomy that became so precious and important to her during her years in the unforgiving spotlight of reality television fame. Lisa's relationship with her television past remains complex, but ultimately positive and accepting. "I don't know how it went so long. I'm just pleasantly surprised," she reflected about the show's remarkable longevity and cultural impact. Her mature perspective reflects someone who has genuinely made peace with both her participation in and eventual departure from reality television, understanding both the benefits and costs of fame. Today, she remains exactly what she always was at heart, an exceptionally skilled professional driver who happened to become famous rather than a celebrity who used to drive trucks. That crucial distinction, fought for through difficult decisions and significant personal sacrifice, may ultimately be her greatest and most lasting achievement. What do you think about Lisa's decision to prioritize her trucking career over television fame and fortune? Was walking away from ice road truckers at the height of her popularity the right choice? Or did she sacrifice too much for principles that might not have been worth the cost? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of reality television's most intriguing and mysterious departures, hit that like button and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes stories about the real people behind your favorite Ashishai.